Rusinga Island is one of the hidden gems that we have in Homa Bay County and Kenya at large. On this particular video, I am going to take us along on a tour that I was in Rusinga Island with my mom. Welcome back to this channel. My name is Grace Wakasa. Consider subscribing if you haven't. Right into the video. This was one of those perfect days in Rusinga Island. Just the two of us exploring, laughing, and chasing the sunset from one of the most beautiful points. This was the first day of our trip, and this was the very first morning. We went for breakfast in a kibandaski, chapo beans, any day, anytime. Peace out, let's head out. We started off at the lake shore where we were supposed to board a waterbus that was heading to Mfangano, and then we could alight at Takawiri Island. The one on the left was heading to Uyoma, and this other one was the one heading to Mfangano. And that is the one that we boarded. And it was both our first times on a water bus, and as you can see, I slowed down at this particular point. This is where the payments were being made. It was 200 Kenya shillings from Mbita. This was from Mbita town to Takawiri Island. So I let him pay as I walked in to book a spot at the window because I wanted to have a first-hand experience where I could have a very beautiful view of the lake. So this is me just looking at the places where people sit, and then I settled for this particular one by the window. This was me just checking if I was really much okay. I was anxious and excited at the same time, and that's why the face OOTD check. So people were settling in before we could leave. And once everyone was settled, the journey began to Takawiri Island. This was one of the most beautiful and peaceful and scenic. It was all in one because I was really looking forward to it. And this was me just singing. I don't even know what I was singing along to, but I was just excited. I know it's not showing on my face, but trust me, I was. This one right here is the Mbita Rusinga Crossway, the one that you see, the bridge that is always seen in Mbita town when you're crossing from Mbita to Rusinga Island. It was scenic, I tell you. It was really, really scenic. I loved it. I loved the view, and I hope you do too. At this point, kindly consider subscribing again if you haven't. Let me know what you think of this trip in the comment section. The journey took 1 hour and 40 minutes thereabout from Mbita town to Takawiri. And as you can see, the tides and the waves changed. This was in the middle of the journey. We were halfway into it. And this is how the lake looked. You can see it is different from how we started. And then finally we were at Takawiri Island. That right there is Takawiri Island. It is an island on its own, and then the other resorts and everything fun is inside. Okay, is in the island, not inside the island. My bad. Forgive my English. Anyway, I hope you're having fun and I hope you're enjoying the video. This is Takawiri Island. It is not as small as I thought it was. Initially, I thought that Takawiri Island, the Takawiri Resort is just a place. As you can see, that is Victoria Sands Takawiri. And at this point, we were almost docking. For those who are alighting at Takawiri, the likes of us to alight, and then those who are proceeding with the journey to Fangano and other islands to proceed. So we arrived and we alighted. I was excited. I didn't know what was in store. We didn't plan much, but we just let the day guide us. So let's go along and find out what we did. Apart from us alighting, there were also travelers who were heading to other islands who were waiting for the Waterbus, and they are the ones boarding. I noted that there was a team from Victoria Sands waiting for guests who wanted to get inside that resort. They were there waiting to receive them. That was not the case with us because we were heading to Takawiri Beach Resort. Let me tell you, this beach resort has been on my bucket list for the longest. At this point, I was just happy and just enjoying the breeze by the lake as we plan and figure out the way forward. We then figured out that the only way to the Takawiri Beach Resort, this that we chose was the one option, and the other one was to use a speedboat from that island to this other one. But because we were on an adventure, we chose this path. By this path, I mean the lady in blue is a tour guide receiving us from that point that she took us from, and then taking them to the Takawiri Beach Resort. The way there from that place to the resort is like 20 minutes walk, and it is rocky, as you can see. And I'm glad I put on the shoes that I did, but they were slightly high, but at least I didn't put on sandals because zingekatikia hapa. This is still us on the way, and it was one hell of a journey, but at least it was adventurous. For you to get to Takawiri Beach Resort, this is a cheaper option. I wouldn't even say it's a cheaper option because that lady, for the 20 minutes that she walked us to that place, she demanded for 500 Kenya shillings. And then we arrived at the gate of Takawiri Beach Resort. You are supposed to call this number that is provided, or there you just knock. There's someone who will receive you by the gate. And then there is a cover charge of 500 Kenya shillings per person that you pay once you get inside the resort, and it is redeemable only if you take lunch. So if you go earlier like us, that we went before lunchtime, we didn't get to redeem it, na hiyo ilienda tu hivyo because tulikuwa tuna time Waterbus isifike iende ikatuacha. So we arrived at Takawiri Beach Resort, and this was the view that received us. I mean, we settled down to enjoy the breeze because we couldn't wait for lunch. Lunch was going to take forever, and we were timing the Waterbus to get back to where we left at 2 p.m. So at this particular point, and also something to note, apart from the 500 cover charge, once you get here, the food, they only provide what they have, which is was it pasta? There is pasta and chicken, and the two meals was 2,000 per person. And I didn't expect that because the way this place is hyped online, I didn't expect that totally. And also something else to note, they don't have a fridge. They don't have a fridge, so don't expect cold drinks. It is just warm drinks, and the view and the food. They mentioned 3 meals. There was the pasta, chicken, and was it ribs? I think I'm forgetting, but there were 3. And for apart from pasta was 1,200 per person per plate, and then the chicken and the ribs was 2,000 per person. So with that reason and also the time factor, we just enjoyed the view. We watched the birds, just basking in the moment and just soaking in the island vibe or the island life. That was still an adventure. It was still fun enough, it was still good enough, it was still epic. It was nice. And that has been Takawiri Island Resort for you. Also note that they don't sell fish. Yes, you heard me right, they don't. Because they don't have a fridge to preserve the fish. And we left to Likimbiza Waterbus, we used the same route. And when leaving, if you don't want to walk, there's an option of the boat. I mentioned that earlier, and that you use 1,000 bob per person from Takawiri Beach Resort to this place now, the Takawiri Victoria Sands. At this point, we were waiting for the water bus, and that was it coming. It was nice. Okay, look at that. Starring it alone was, oh my goodness. That's our Waterbus ifike. Let's wait for it and board. As we go back to Mbita Town, by the way, we went and took lunch at Mbita Town before proceeding towards sunset at a location that I'm not going to tell you. I want you to stick along and see it for yourselves. At this point, while boarding the Waterbus back to Mbita Town, I was no longer anxious. I was very excited, and I was not even afraid anymore. In the morning I was, but it couldn't show. But at this point, I was very courageous. I was very happy, very excited. We even chose to sit at the mwisho kabisa, where you could sit and have an open view of the lake, not inside the seats. At this point, we were very happy. We were not afraid anymore. And so, yeah, this is what I meant. You can sit here. There are seats at this point where you can just sit as you watch the lake. So we were heading back to Mbita Town from Takawiri Beach Resort. Let's go back to Mbita and proceed from there. The journey back to Mbita was quite long. By there we took close to 2 hours because we were stopping at various islands while picking people who were going back to Mbita. And at some point I fell asleep and the sun became hotter on this other end. I slept before we arrived. Yeah, the sun was very hot. You know, the day we changed directions and it became way hotter. And I fell asleep because at this point I was even hungrier than I was earlier. I was just looking forward to arrive in Mbita and have a proper meal. And finally we did. We arrived in Mbita Town and I was alighting. People had alighted, and that's one that I was trying to show my camera person, or is something like a canteen. There is a spot there with snacks that you can buy in case you are hungry. Yep. And that marked day 1. Day 2, this is me starting the day at Whitestone Beach Resort. There wasn't much that was happening here because here too we just came by, we just passed by. I have done a video of Whitestone Beach Resort before. Kindly consider watching it if you haven't. If you want to get more information on the food and get better view of the ambience, you can check it out. There was a fish that had died and it was just floating there. And so I decided to just have fun with it. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we didn't do much in Whitestone Beach Resort, but either way, every stop was different, peaceful, vibrant, full of stories and beautiful views. Yep, as I told you earlier, we let the day guide us. The previous day guided us well, and we trusted this one to guide us even better. And let me tell you guys, you see this particular spot that I was recording from, the spot where we were sitting at, when it rains heavily and the lake ijae kabisa, hii place hata huwa haionekani, huwa inafunikwa na maji and you can barely see it. But on this day it was visible and we decided to choose the best place for the best view and for the best experience. This was our best and this was our moment. Oh my god, nawaombea nyinyi pia. And later in the evening of the same day, we literally chased the sunset. We rushed to Mbita Tourist Hotel to catch the sunset, and I am glad that we just arrived at the perfect time. I have also done a video of Mbita Tourist Hotel, and it is one of my best performing videos on YouTube. Go and watch it to get more information of the food and all that. In this one, let's enjoy the sunset views and this moment. Oh my god. As the sun set, we sat by the lake, watching the colors melt into the water. It was calm, it was peaceful, it was the kind of evenings that you never wish to end. It was nice. Rusinga Island wasn't just a trip, it was a feeling, one that we will keep coming back to. Rusinga will always have a piece of our hearts. We enjoyed our stay and I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have watched to this point and you haven't subscribed, kindly consider subscribing and let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying up to this point. At this time, adios. See you in the next video. Enjoy some of the photos that we took at Mbita Tourist Hotel and Mbita and Whitestone Beach Resort. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Oh, I love Rusinga Island.